Previously, we have seen what is a programming language, or at least try to get a feel of it. Now, we have also discussed about operating system. Operating system is the entity which abstracts all the complexity of hardware from the end user or the people who uses it. For example, Windows, Linux, Mac operating system, iOS, all those things we have seen in one of the previous slides. A couple of the features of operating system we will be using for programming. And one of them is terminal, shell, or command prompt in Windows, and files and file browsers. So if you're completely new to computing and computer programming, these concepts may completely new to you. So let's have a quick look at some of these things and understand how we interact with the operating system in general as a programmer. So this is the block diagram we are still trying to understand. So we have looked at this particular piece. So we have looked at how it looks. We didn't go into any details, but we had a quick look at different programming languages. Now, this is a part we're gonna focus a little bit, not in detail again, the operating system. So everything is running inside the operating system. So this light blue outside is the one we're gonna have a quick look. These are the main different ways we interact with the operating system. So we create file and execute certain programs. So for that, we use the features of operating system. So the first concept or the first item I would like to discuss in this category is a shell. Shell has different names: terminal, command prompt, SSH. All are slightly different, but in this context, you can think of all these things as same. So terminal or shell or command prompt in Windows or CMD, it's just a black window where you execute other programs. So operating system abstracts the complexity of the hardware, like I mentioned, and give us an interface to interact with that hardware. For example, create a file, copy a file, delete a file, all that kind of operations, simple operations. Send a network packet using the NIC card. All those simple operations or simple handling of the devices is handled by the operating system. Mainly almost all the operating system at one of the lowest possible layers provide something called command prompt or shell to interact with it using commands. So that is called command prompt or shell. There is a little bit of reason why it's dark and not very user friendly. But before going into that, we will execute some commands and get a feel of it in the Windows operating system. So this is my Windows operating system which I'm using to record this presentation. I'm going to start menu and right click on run. So this is a Windows 11 operating system. If you are using Mac or Linux for this training, don't worry much about this particular demo because it'll be a little different for you. If you are keen, you can search in Google, but just wanted to show you what and how a terminal looks. So I have clicked on CMD or typed CMD. So you can type CMD here in the run. So it was already there in my case, or I can type CMD here like this and click OK. I get this particular prompt like this. This black window is called command prompt in Windows or shell. There is another one like this in Windows called PowerShell that's looking very similar but slightly different. So if you want, I can show you that as well. Again, in the run, right click run. Instead of CMD, I type PowerShell. So I get PowerShell. It's all similar and same looking. They have slightly different features. In fact, very different features in Windows. PowerShell is way more powerful, just like the name, than command prompt. It doesn't matter. All we want to know is this black window is like a steering to the operating system. So we can interact and make the operating system do certain things, especially starting other programs, and do things from this particular window. Most of the times we will be doing in this window is starting other programs and making that program do certain things. For testing purposes, for demo purposes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send some network packets through the NIC card of this particular laptop using ping command. So I'm pinging google.com, so I send packets to google.com from this particular command prompt. Nothing to worry about it as of now. You don't have to know any details of this. Just I'm showing you how to start a different program from a command prompt in Windows. Right now I have started the program called ping. The ping command is used to send packets to different servers in the network. So we will be starting our Hello World application from the command prompt as well. So that is when you can pay more attention to. Right now, just understand command prompt you can use to start other programs. So coming back to the slides, like I mentioned, terminal or command prompt is used to start other programs, mostly created by someone other than you, probably the operating system developer, some other developers. We have seen this command prompt or CMD. This is a bit of history than story, which I'm not getting into the details right now. As I mentioned, shell is mainly used for interaction with the operating system. From an end user perspective or an OS user or operating system user perspective, terminal equal to operating system, it's not quite right, but more or like operating system, terminal. So that is the main way an end user is interacting with the operating system. Yeah, it is the main control of the operating system. So if the car is an operating system, it is like a steering to the operating system, the command prompt. So it has different names in different operating system. Terminal, normally terminal is the name in Linux, more or less the same purpose. Command prompt in Windows, SSH is similar to terminal, but remote. Shell, PowerShell, all different names. But for our purpose, it's all same stuff. They are different, but we don't worry about it. So this is the only point I want you to remember in our context. Everything else you can just forget. It is used to start other program, including the program we are going to develop, the Python programs. So here is another diagram for us to understand how all these things looks. You have hardware in the middle. So the hardware, CPU, memory, disk, monitor, keyboard, mouse, graphics card, all that sorts of stuff, which we discussed. And operating system abstract all the complexities of this hardware. They are very complicated devices, including CPU. The operating system abstracts the complexity and give us friendly interface. So this is where normal people interacts with the hardware through different programs. So what we have done is we have used a CMD to connect to the hardware. So in our case, it was a NIC card via the operating system with the help of the operating system and send packets to Google. So that is what we have done in our short demo using the ping command. Just started another program, that's all we did. In fact, the program did rest other things. We didn't worry much about it. So we have seen this particular demo of a command prompt, and we have executed a command called ping, just random command, nothing specific. And we accessed the OS, and we have discussed how the OS abstracts the hardware